According to registered dietitian Lauren Panoff's article, which was published in 2019, drinking 3 to 5 cups of coffee daily can lower your risk of heart disease by up to 15%. As a daily coffee drinker on a tight budget, I've been making my own cold brew coffee for over a year now, and after testing numerous methods and procedures over the last year, I will show you the easiest and best way to make your own cold brew coffee. In today's video, I will list the materials that you will need, followed by the necessary steps in order to make your very own affordable cold brew coffee. Here's everything you'll need in order to make your own cold brew coffee in the comfort of your own home. Here we have our cold brew filter bags, which can be found on Amazon. We have a measuring cup, a container to put our water and coffee beans in, our coffee beans, and our grinder. Additionally, you can use a small kitchen brush to clean your grinder when you are done. Now, the type of coffee beans you use is important. Medium or dark work best for cold brew, but you want to stay away from a mild roast coffee bean. This is because the flavor will not be as rich as it would be with medium or dark roast coffee beans. Here's a chart displaying how much coffee you should use for how much water you have. Essentially, you should use 3/4 of a cup of coffee beans or grounds for every 4 cups of water that you have. The container I'm using to make my cold brew is 2 quarts or 8 cups. Because of this, I will use 1.5 cups of coffee beans. After you've measured out your coffee beans, you want to go ahead and put them in your coffee bean grinder. Now, if you don't use coffee beans and you just use coffee grounds, you can disregard this step. After you put your beans in your grinder, you want to go ahead and start grinding them. You want to make sure that your beans are coarsely ground. You don't want to grind them too finely, otherwise they will seep through the filter bag into your water. You then want to transfer your coffee grounds into the cold brew filter bag. Repeat this process until you've ground all your beans. After all of your coffee beans have been ground and you've placed them in your filter bag, you can now fill up your container with water. As I mentioned before, mine is 2 quarts. Here I am using purified water to fill up my container. I recommend avoiding using tap water, as purified water will improve the taste of your coffee. It's important to leave a little space at the top so that you can fit your coffee bag in without overflowing. Next, you want to cinch up your coffee bag and slowly drop it into your container of water. Leave the string out so that you can pull it out when you are done. Finally, place the cap on your container and set it in the fridge. Place your cold brew in the fridge for 12 to 24 hours. The longer you leave it in, the more rich in flavor it will be. Along with that, the more caffeine content there will be. In an article written in 2019 by Bobby Finger in the New York Times, cold brew coffee has 20% more caffeine than traditional coffee. The longer you leave it in for, the more caffeine content there will be. So now that it's been 24 hours, we can go ahead and take our cold brew out of the fridge. Now after you take your cold brew out of the fridge, you want to go ahead and grab your filter bag and pull it out of the vessel. And after you do that, you want to grab it and try to squeeze out as much cold brew as you can. Finally, after you've squeezed out as much as you can go ahead and discard of your filter bag, and there you go. Cold brew's ready. At this point, what I like to do is fill up individual jars with cold brew so that they're ready whenever I need them. After filling my jars with cold brew, my container is now empty and I can start the process over again. Hopefully, after watching this video, you now know the necessary materials and steps needed to make your own cold brew. The rich flavor and high caffeine content in cold brew makes it delicious and worth knowing how to make. In fact, Betty Gold mentions in her article published in 2019 that the caffeine content in cold brew can boost your metabolic rate by up to 11%. So, have fun and enjoy making your own cold brew.